The first sound that morning was not the choir, not the prayers, but the slow, heavy toll of the church bells at St. Mary's in Atlanta. Each strike felt like it was hammering straight into my chest. My daughter, Jasmine, only 28 years old, was gone. People whispered it was a tragic accident. They said her car spun out of control and crashed into a tree. But as I sat there staring at her closed casket, something inside me refused to believe it. My spirit screamed that there was more, far more, than what I was being told. Just then, as the choir began to sing, my phone buzzed in my purse. For a moment, I thought about ignoring it. After all, who would dare text me during my daughter's funeral? But when I looked down, my breath caught. Trust no one. They did this. My hands shook. My vision blurred. My body went cold. Someone in this very room wanted me to know Jasmine's death was no accident. I lifted my head, scanning the pews through tears. My ex-husband Marcus sat in the front, stiff as a board. His new wife Tasha, clinging to his arm like she owned the place. Jasmine never trusted her. Then my eyes shifted to Erica, Jasmine's best friend since high school. She was there the night Jasmine died, yet she hadn't called me until hours later. Why? And then there was David, Jasmine's husband. He sat close to the casket, his face buried in his hands. To everyone else, he looked like a broken man, but something about his posture, the way his shoulders shook, it didn't look like grief. It looked like guilt. Michael, my son, leaned closer. His whisper was so soft only I could hear. Mama, something's wrong. Don't trust David. The words pierced me like a blade. They matched the text in my hand. The pastor's voice rose from the pulpit. Let us bow our heads. But I couldn't. My mind was spinning. Who sent the message? Who wanted me to know? And why was I suddenly convinced that the person responsible for Jasmine's death was right here, sitting among us, pretending to mourn? As the service ended and the pallbearers lifted Jasmine's casket, my phone buzzed again. This time, it wasn't words. It was a picture. My breath stopped. The photo showed Jasmine, alive, eyes wide with fear, today's newspaper clutched in her trembling hands. Was my daughter truly gone? Or was she out there somewhere, begging me to find her? Hi, my name is Grace, and my story is just beginning. Make sure you subscribe because you won't want to miss what comes next. Also comment on the country you are watching from. I'm curious to know. The photo burned in my hand as the congregation shuffled out of St. Mary's. Jasmine's casket had just been carried away, but I couldn't even feel my legs beneath me. My daughter's face stared back at me from the screen, alive, terrified, clutching today's newspaper. I tucked the phone away quickly, my heart pounding. Whoever sent that photo knew exactly how to shake me to the core, and they were close. Too close. Mom, you look pale, Michael whispered, steadying me as we moved toward the aisle. I hesitated, torn between silence and truth, but Michael had always been my rock. Even when Marcus and I split, if I couldn't trust my son, who could I trust? I slipped the phone into his hand. His eyes widened as he read the earlier text. Trust no one. They did this. Then I showed him the photo of Jasmine alive. For a moment, he just stared, jaw tightening. Then he leaned close, his voice low and urgent. Mama, this changes everything. Whoever did this is here today, and I don't trust David. I froze at his words. He hadn't flinched, hadn't questioned the message. He believed it instantly. And he was right. Someone in this church knew more than they were saying. As we stepped into the aisle, Marcus reached for me. Grace, he said softly. You holding up okay? His new wife, Tasha, tugged at his sleeve, her smile sharp as glass. I'm fine, I managed, my voice trembling. Marcus's eyes darted around the sanctuary before settling back on me. Something flickered there, something I couldn't name. Before I could press, Michael slid between us like a shield. She needs air, he said firmly, his gaze never leaving Marcus's face. We moved toward the doors, but I caught sight of Erica, Jasmine's best friend, standing near the back pew. Her arms were crossed tight, her face pale. When she noticed me watching, she turned quickly, whispering into her phone. I caught just enough to freeze in place. She doesn't know yet. Just keep quiet. My stomach dropped. Was she talking about me? Michael tugged at my arm, pulling me forward. Mom, don't lose focus, he whispered. If we show we're rattled, they'll know the message got to us. But how could I hide it? My daughter's casket had just been lowered into the ground, and yet I had proof she was alive, and every person I looked at seemed like they were hiding something. Marcus, with his secretive glances. Tasha, with her cold smile. Erica whispering behind her hand. David, my son-in-law, sitting too still, too controlled, as though his grief were nothing but a mask. As Michael opened the car door for me, the words from the text echoed in my mind like thunder. Trust no one. I gripped my phone tightly, my knuckles white. Whoever was behind this wasn't finished. Just as Michael started the engine, my phone buzzed again. Another message lit up the screen. This time, it wasn't words or a picture. It was a video. I pressed play with trembling fingers. Jasmine's face appeared. She was crying, her voice urgent. Mama, if you're watching this, it means I don't have much time. Please, follow the money. And then the screen went black. Michael drove us away from the church in silence, his hands gripping the wheel so tightly his knuckles turned pale. My phone sat heavy in my lap, as though it carried the weight of all the secrets we didn't yet understand. The video of Jasmine's tear-streaked face echoed in my mind. Follow the money. Those were her words, her plea. I closed my eyes and let myself drift back to the last night I spoke with her. We were sitting at my kitchen table in Decatur, just the two of us. Jasmine had come over after work, looking tired but restless. She kept twisting her wedding ring around her finger, staring at it like it was a burden instead of a promise. Mom, she said softly, there's something I've been working on. Something big. What do you mean? I asked, leaning closer. She bit her lip and shook her head. I can't tell you everything yet, but it's dangerous, and if it comes out, it'll change everything. Her words had unsettled me, but I thought she was exaggerating. My Jasmine always had a dramatic streak. I brushed it off, poured us tea, and told her not to worry so much. Now, sitting in Michael's car, those words cut like glass. She hadn't been exaggerating at all. I opened my eyes, fighting back tears. Michael, I whispered. She tried to warn me. She knew something. I didn't listen. Michael glanced at me, his jaw set. Mom, don't blame yourself. She left that video for a reason. She wanted you to pick up where she left off. We just need to figure out what follow the money means. I nodded, but my heart ached. Jasmine had always been smart, ambitious. She worked at Grady Memorial Hospital in downtown Atlanta, managing accounts. Could it be something at her job? Or was this connected to David, her husband, who always seemed to live beyond their means? As if summoned by my thoughts, my phone buzzed again. A new message. Not from Jasmine this time, but from an unknown number. It was an address, a small storage facility just outside the city. The message read only 3 words. Look inside. Hurry, Michael cursed under his breath. They're leading us somewhere. Or trapping us, I said quietly. We pulled into a gas station nearby to think. I looked across the lot and froze. Standing by the pumps was David, Jasmine's husband. He was supposed to be at the repast with Marcus and Tasha, yet here he was, phone pressed to his ear, pacing with the agitation of a man carrying secrets. Michael followed my gaze. Why would he leave the repast? He muttered. We stayed low in the car, watching as David ended his call and shoved something into his jacket pocket. He scanned the lot nervously before climbing into his car and speeding off, in the exact same direction as the address I had just received. My pulse quickened. Could he know about the storage unit? Was he the one who sent the message? Or was he racing to cover up whatever Jasmine had uncovered? I looked at Michael. We have to follow him. He hesitated, but then nodded. All right, Mama. But if this gets dangerous, we're pulling out. I'm not letting anything happen to you. I reached for his hand. Michael, they already took Jasmine from us once. I won't sit back and let them try again. He squeezed my hand, and together we started the car, trailing David's taillights as they disappeared into the Atlanta night. As we approached the outskirts, David pulled into the very storage facility from the text. We parked at a distance, our headlights off. From the shadows, we watched him unlock Unit 47 and slip inside. Michael leaned close, whispering, Mom, do we wait or do we go in after him? My heart thundered in my chest. Whatever answers lay inside that storage unit could cost us everything. If you were me, would you risk going inside the storage unit after David, or wait to see what he does? Tell me what you'd do in the comments. I want to know how you'd handle this moment. The night air was heavy as Michael and I crouched in the shadows, watching David disappear into Unit 47. The overhead lights in the storage facility flickered, casting long, jagged shadows across the lot. My heart pounded so loudly, I feared David might hear it from inside. We can't wait, I whispered. If he's hiding something, he'll destroy it. Michael's jaw clenched. He gave a tight nod, and together we moved silently toward the unit. The metal door was half open, just enough for us to slip inside unnoticed. The air was stale, carrying the faint scent of dust and paper. Boxes lined the walls, but David stood in the center, rifling through a plastic container with frantic urgency. He hadn't seen us yet. We ducked behind a stack of boxes, peering through a gap. David muttered under his breath, pulling out files and shoving them into a duffel bag. He paused, then pulled free a thick envelope stamped with the seal of the Atlanta Police Department. My stomach tightened. Why would Jasmine's husband be hiding police documents in a storage unit? Michael leaned close, his breath hot against my ear. Mama, that has to be what she meant. That's the money trail. Before I could respond, David's phone buzzed. He answered quickly, his voice sharp. Yeah, I've got it. No, she doesn't suspect a thing. By the time anyone puts it together, it'll be too late. My blood ran cold. She doesn't suspect a thing. Was he talking about me, or Jasmine, before she disappeared? David shoved the envelope into his duffel, zipped it, and turned toward the door. We barely managed to slide deeper into the shadows as he walked out, locking the unit behind him. His footsteps faded until the sound of his car starting up broke the silence. Michael touched my arm. We can't let that envelope vanish. If it's connected to Jasmine, it's our only lead, I nodded. But the door's locked. He smirked faintly, pulling a small multi-tool from his pocket. Guess it's a good thing your son used to be a curious teenager. It took him less than a minute to pry the lock open. My nerves screamed at the sound of metal scraping, but no one came. Together, we pushed the door up and stepped inside. The boxes were chaotic, files and receipts scattered, as if David had searched in haste. I scanned the unit, praying for something he'd overlooked. And then I saw it. A small shoebox tucked in the far corner, labeled in Jasmine's handwriting. For Mama. My knees buckled. I reached for it with trembling hands, pulling it close. Inside were photographs, bank statements, and a flash drive. On top lay a handwritten note. It read, Mom, if you're reading this, I couldn't keep quiet. The money doesn't add up. Follow the transfers. Start with Crescent Bank, account 2749. Trust only Michael. I pressed the note to my chest, tears filling my eyes. Jasmine had known her life was in danger, yet she had thought of me, of us, until the very end. Michael sifted through the papers, his brow furrowed. These transfers, Mom, we're talking thousands of dollars. All funneled through accounts in David's name. I staggered back, gripping the edge of a box. David was stealing? From Jasmine? Michael shook his head. Not just from her. Look at this. Hospital accounts, donations, grants. He's laundering money, Mama. My head spun. Could this be why Jasmine disappeared? Had she uncovered his scheme? Before we could dig deeper, the roar of an engine split the silence. Headlights swept across the rows of units, growing closer. Michael shoved the papers back into the shoebox. Mama, someone's coming. We froze, clutching the evidence, as a familiar car rolled into the lot. It wasn't David this time. It was Marcus. And he wasn't alone. What would you do if you found a box of secrets your child left behind? Would you take it straight to the police, or keep digging on your own first? Share your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to read them. The rumble of Marcus's car sent a chill down my spine. Michael and I ducked low, clutching the shoebox Jasmine had left for me. The overhead lights flickered again, throwing the rows of storage units into eerie patterns of shadow and light. What is he doing here? I whispered, my pulse hammering in my ears. Michael peered through the narrow slit in the door. He's not alone. I shifted carefully to look. A tall man stepped out of the passenger side. His suit looked expensive, his stance confident, and even in the dim light I could see the hard glint in his eyes. He wasn't family. He wasn't a friend. He looked like someone you didn't want to owe money to. Marcus ran a hand over his head, nervous, before pulling out a set of keys. Keys to the same unit we were hiding in. Panic surged through me. If he opened the door, we'd be caught red-handed. I clutched Michael's arm, whispering, "We have to hide." He nodded quickly, dragging me behind a stack of boxes just as the door screeched open. The light from Marcus's flashlight cut across the room, landing on the scattered papers David had left behind. "See?" Marcus muttered to the man. "I told you he was sloppy." The man stepped inside, his voice deep and smooth. "Sloppy gets people killed. If your son-in-law can't keep his end clean, he's a liability." My breath caught. They were talking about David. And Jasmine's husband wasn't just involved. He was tangled up in something dangerous. Marcus bent down, picking up a file folder and flipping it open. "I'll handle it." He thinks he's clever, but he doesn't know who's really pulling the strings. Michael's eyes met mine in the shadows, wide with alarm. My ex-husband, the man who once held my hand through childbirth, the man who promised forever before walking out, was part of whatever had destroyed Jasmine's life. The suited man closed the folder with a snap. "See that you do. If word gets out, it's not just your family on the line, it's all of us." They turned to leave, Marcus locking the unit behind them. We stayed frozen in silence until the sound of their car faded into the night. Only then did Michael release the breath he'd been holding. "Mama," he whispered, "what in the world have we stumbled into?" I sat down hard on a box, clutching Jasmine's note to my chest. "Your father? I thought I knew him. But this? This is something else." Michael rubbed the back of his neck. "It explains a lot. Why he's been distant. Why he remarried so fast. Maybe even why he didn't look shocked at the funeral." His words stabbed at me, each one a reminder that the people closest to us could be strangers in disguise. But one thought burned brighter than the rest. If Marcus and David were both tangled in this mess, Jasmine had been caught in the middle, and she had paid the price. I stood, my legs unsteady. "We can't go to the police." "Not yet. If they're involved, we don't know who we can trust." Michael nodded grimly. Then we followed Jasmine's lead. Crescent Bank. The transfers. I clutched the shoebox tighter. The truth was close. I could feel it, but every step forward made the shadows around us grow darker. As we walked back toward the car, a voice echoed across the lot. "Grace?" I froze, the hairs on my neck standing up. Turning slowly, I saw Erica, Jasmine's best friend, standing under the flickering lights. Her phone was still in her hand, her expression unreadable. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice too calm, too steady for someone who had just lost her best friend. "Do you think Erica is part of the secret, or is she trying to help me uncover the truth?" Comment below and let me know your theory. I'm reading them all. "Erica," I said carefully, my hand tightening around the shoebox Jasmine left for me. Michael shifted closer, his protective stance clear. "What are you doing here this late?" The flickering light above us buzzed, throwing her face in and out of shadow. Erica slipped her phone into her pocket and crossed her arms. "I could ask you the same thing, Grace. People don't usually sneak around storage units after midnight unless they're hiding something." Her tone was calm, but her eyes betrayed her. Sharp, searching, as if she was measuring how much I already knew. Michael stepped forward, his voice firm. "This isn't the time for games. You said something at the funeral, on the phone. She doesn't know yet. Just keep quiet." "Who were you talking about?" Erica stiffened, her lips pressing into a thin line. For a moment, I thought she'd turn and walk away. Instead, she sighed, glancing around to make sure we were alone. "Fine. You deserve the truth, but not here." I raised an eyebrow. "Then where?" "There's a diner 2 blocks over," she said. "They stay open all night. Meet me there in 10 minutes, and bring whatever you just found in that unit. Because, if I'm right, Jasmine's not the only one they tried to silence." With that, she turned on her heel and walked toward her car. The taillights glowed red before disappearing into the night. Michael looked at me, suspicion heavy in his voice. "You trust her?" I shook my head slowly. "I don't know. But if she knows something about Jasmine, we can't ignore it." We drove to the diner, a small roadside place called the Blue Lantern. Inside, the smell of coffee and fried eggs clung to the air. A few truckers sat scattered in booths, their eyes half closed from exhaustion. Erica was waiting in the back corner, a pot of coffee already on the table. She motioned us over without a word. As soon as we sat down, she leaned in, her voice low. "Jasmine came to me 3 weeks ago. She said she'd uncovered financial records that didn't add up. Money was moving through hospital accounts, donations, grants, even patient funds, and ending up somewhere it didn't belong. She thought David was behind it, but she also suspected he wasn't working alone." I felt my stomach twist. "Marcus," I whispered. Erica's eyes flicked to me, then to Michael. "Exactly. She didn't have proof yet, but she said if anything happened to her, someone had to keep digging. She told me she left clues behind. For you," Grace. Michael placed the shoebox gently on the table, opening it just enough for Erica to see the files inside. Her eyes widened. "That's it. That's what she was trying to show me." I frowned. "Why didn't you tell me any of this before? Why wait until now?" Erica's expression hardened. "Because I didn't know who to trust." "You think you can just walk into the police station with this? What if they're involved? What if Marcus has people everywhere?" Her words echoed the same fear I'd been carrying since the funeral. She leaned closer, whispering urgently. "Grace, the account number Jasmine gave you. Crescent Bank, right? I've been watching it. Money's still moving. Big transfers, like someone's panicking and trying to cover their tracks." Michael frowned. "You're saying the money trail isn't cold?" Erica shook her head. "No, it's hotter than ever. And if we don't move fast, whoever's behind this is going to realize Jasmine left a trail." I wrapped my hands around the warm coffee cup, my thoughts racing. Jasmine had trusted Erica enough to confide in her. But part of me still wondered, was Erica truly helping us or steering us into a trap? Before I could ask, the bell above the diner door jingled. I glanced up and felt the blood drain from my face. Marcus had just walked in. Marcus scanned the diner, his eyes landing on our booth. His lips curled into something that wasn't quite a smile. Then, without a word, He started walking toward us. If it was you, would you trust Erica? Let me know in the comments. Your take could change everything. Marcus moved toward our booth with the slow, deliberate stride of a man who already owned the room. His eyes scanned the table, lingering on the shoebox before landing on me. Grace? He said smoothly, though his tone carried an edge. Didn't expect to find you here. With her? He jerked his chin toward Erica. Michael stiffened beside me. What do you want, Dad? His voice was low, protective. Marcus slid into the booth opposite us without waiting for an invitation. He looked at me first, then Erica, then finally his son. I could ask the same. What are you three doing out here huddled up in the middle of the night? Erica crossed her arms. Funny, Marcus. I was about to ask you the same thing back at the storage unit. His jaw twitched, but his smile never faded. You've been busy, haven't you? His gaze dropped again to the shoebox. Jasmine's little project. I pulled the box closer, my hands trembling slightly. You knew about it, I whispered. Marcus leaned in, lowering his voice. Of course I did. Jasmine wasn't subtle. She started poking her nose where it didn't belong, asking questions she didn't understand. I told her to leave it alone. My throat tightened. And when she didn't? His eyes flicked toward Michael, then back to me. For a moment, I saw something raw flash across his face. Guilt, maybe, or fear, before it hardened again. When she didn't, she put everyone at risk. Not just herself. Michael slammed his palm on the table, making the coffee cups rattle. Stop dodging, Dad. Did you have something to do with her disappearing? The diner fell silent around us, a few truckers lifting their heads at the sound. Marcus didn't flinch, but his voice grew quieter, colder. Careful, son. You don't know the kind of people involved. You think this is about your sister? It's bigger than that. Erica leaned forward, her tone sharp. Then why are you meeting men in storage units at midnight? Men who don't exactly look like accountants. Marcus's eyes narrowed at her. You should watch yourself, Erica. You don't know who you're talking to. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to meet his stare. Why don't you tell us, Marcus? Tell us who you really are. For a moment, I thought he might, but then his phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen, his face tightening, and pushed back from the booth. Stay out of this, Grace, he said, his voice low and urgent. If you care about Michael, about yourself, you'll drop it. Some truths aren't meant to be uncovered. He stood and tossed a few bills on the table, as if he had just finished a casual meal, then walked out into the night. The bell over the door jingled, and he was gone. I sat frozen, my hands wrapped around Jasmine's note inside the shoebox. My chest ached, torn between grief and rage. Michael finally broke the silence. He's hiding something, and it's tied to Jasmine. Erica nodded. And he's scared. Did you see his face when I mentioned the man at the storage unit? He's not in control anymore. Whoever he's working with, they're pulling the strings now. I stared at the window where Marcus's car had vanished into the night. He had once been the man I loved, the father of my children. Now he was a stranger carrying secrets that had cost us everything. I whispered to myself, almost like a vow. We're not stopping until we know the truth. Michael reached for the flash drive inside the shoebox. Mom, there's only one way to get answers. Let's see what's on here. He pulled out his laptop and slid the drive in. The screen flickered, loading files. Rows of transactions filled the screen. Crescent bank transfers, just like Jasmine had said. But at the bottom was a single folder labeled in bold letters. Grace. If you found a folder with your name in your child's secret files, would you open it right away or hesitate? Drop your answer in the comments. I need to know what you'd do. Michael's laptop glowed in the dim corner of the diner, the hum of the old machine the only sound between us. My hands trembled as I stared at the folder labeled GRACE. Why would Jasmine name something after me? I whispered. Michael clicked it open carefully, as if the truth itself might explode from the screen. Inside were scanned documents, dozens of them. My heart stuttered as I leaned closer. They were bank statements, but not mine, at least, not ones I'd ever seen. Each carried my name, my social security number, even my address. But the transactions, they were staggering. Tens of thousands of dollars funneled through accounts I didn't recognize. Money moved in and out like waves crashing against the shore. Michael's jaw tightened. Mama, someone used your identity. I felt dizzy, gripping the edge of the table for balance. No, this isn't possible. I've never seen these accounts. I barely even use online banking. Erica leaned in, her brow furrowed. This is why Jasmine was so scared. She told me someone was setting you up. If the police ever got hold of these records, Grace, they'd think you were laundering the money yourself. The diner's fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, too bright, too sharp. I pressed a hand to my chest, fighting the panic clawing at me. That's why she sent me the message. Trust no one. She knew they'd come after me next. Michael scrolled further down the folder. At the bottom was a series of emails Jasmine had saved. They were between David and someone only identified as M. The subject lines were chilling. Keep her quiet. She's asking questions. Grace is the fall girl. My throat tightened until I could barely speak. M, that has to be Marcus. Michael slammed the laptop shut, his face stormy. That's it. I don't care if he's my father. He's in this up to his neck, and he's dragging you into it. Erica glanced nervously toward the diner windows. You need to understand. If Marcus and David are framing you, they won't stop until it sticks. You're already in the files, Grace. For them, it's just a matter of time. A chill swept through me. Everything suddenly felt fragile. My freedom, my safety, my sanity. If Jasmine hadn't left this trail, I might never have known until the police showed up at my door. Michael reached for my hand. Mama, listen to me. They picked the wrong woman to mess with. We're going to clear your name, but we have to move fast. The bank transfers are the key. If we can trace where the money ends up, we'll have proof. I nodded, but inside, dread clawed at me. Marcus wasn't just hiding secrets. He was building a trap with my name all over it. Just then, Erica's phone buzzed on the table. She picked it up, her face draining of color. Oh no, she whispered. What is it? I asked, my stomach knotting. She turned the screen toward us. A text message glowed in the darkness. Too late. They know Grace has the box. What would you do if you found out your own identity was being used in a crime? Would you run, fight back, or go to the police? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'm dying to know your take. The diner's neon sign flickered in the window, casting sharp red light across our booth. Erica's phone lay on the table, the message still glowing. Too late. They know Grace has the box. Michael cursed under his breath and immediately shut the laptop, sliding it and the shoebox back into his backpack. We have to move. Now I could barely breathe. They know. Michael, how do they know? Erica's eyes darted to the door. Marcus must have seen it when he sat down. He knew you had something, Grace. He didn't need to see inside. He only needed confirmation. My hands shook as I pulled my coat tighter. It felt like invisible eyes were already on me, closing in. We slipped out the back door of the diner into the cool Georgia night. The parking lot was nearly empty. Only one car idled in the shadows, headlights off. Michael's hand clamped onto my arm. Don't look directly, Mama, but someone's watching us. I kept my gaze forward, my heart pounding. The car door opened, and a figure stepped out, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a dark jacket. The man from the storage unit. The one Marcus had met. Erica hissed. That's him! Michael pulled me quickly toward our car. Get in now. We piled inside, and Michael started the engine. The mysterious car roared to life immediately after. Its headlights flared on, blinding us in the mirror. Michael? I whispered, gripping the seat. They're following us. He didn't respond, only pressed harder on the gas. The empty highway stretched ahead, but every turn we made, the car stayed on our tail. Erica twisted around in the passenger seat, watching. They're not even trying to be subtle. They want you to know, Grace. They want you scared, as if I wasn't already. My chest ached, fear clawing at me, but beneath it was something else. Anger. Whoever these men were, they had taken Jasmine, tried to erase her, and now they were coming for me. Michael veered sharply onto a side road, the tires screeching. The car behind us followed without hesitation. We can't lead them back home, Michael muttered. We need somewhere safe, somewhere public. Downtown, I said quickly. Near Centennial Park. Cameras, people, lights. They can't touch us there. Michael nodded and sped toward the city, weaving through the streets until the glowing skyline rose ahead. The car followed, relentless. Finally, near the park, Michael swung into a crowded parking lot and cut the engine. We crouched low as the other car slowed, circling like a predator. After a tense minute, it drove off, disappearing into the night. I exhaled shakily. They're not going to stop. Erica turned to me, her eyes fierce. Then we don't stop either. Jasmine trusted you with this for a reason. You've got the evidence that ties Marcus and David to the money. The only question is, are you ready to use it? Her words struck me like a challenge. I thought of Jasmine's face in that video, her voice pleading. Follow the money. She had given me the path. Now it was my choice whether to finish what she started. Michael placed a hand on my shoulder. Mama, it's time. We go after Marcus and David. Tonight, before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. Another text. My blood ran cold as I read it aloud. Midnight, old factory on Ashland Road. Come alone, Grace, or Jasmine dies. Michael's eyes widened. Mama, they've got her. If you got a message like that, would you risk walking into the trap to save your child, or find another way? Comment your answer. I want to hear your heart. The factory creaked in the silence, every echo magnified in the hollow space. I clutched the shoebox like a shield, forcing myself to take one step after another. My heart pounded so loud, I swore Marcus and David could hear it. They stood waiting, shadows stretching long in the dim light. Marcus's face was strained, his jaw tight, his eyes darting like a man caught in a trap. David, on the other hand, leaned casually against a rusted table, his grin sharp and wolfish. Grace, Marcus said softly, almost tenderly. You shouldn't have come. I felt my voice quake, but didn't let it break. You took my daughter from me. You tried to ruin my name. After everything we've been through, Marcus, how could you? David laughed, a cruel, echoing sound. Because family means nothing when there's money on the line. Your husband knew that. Jasmine got too close to the truth, so she had to be silenced. Marcus's eyes flickered toward me, heavy with shame. I didn't want her hurt. I swear, Grace, I just wanted her quiet. David, Don't you dare pin this on me. David snapped, his grin vanishing. You were in it just as deep. You signed the transfers. You used your wife's name. Don't stand here and pretend your hands are clean. The words slammed into me. My knees weakened. My name? Marcus? You let them use me as the scapegoat? After everything? I gave you my life, my loyalty, and this is how you repay me? He opened his mouth, but the weight of his silence told me everything. David stepped closer, his voice a whisper filled with menace. So here's the deal, Grace. Hand over the box, and maybe you live to see another sunrise. Otherwise... Before he could finish, a voice cut through the darkness. Get away from my mother. Michael stormed in, fury blazing in his eyes. He lunged at David, slamming into him with a force that knocked the table aside. The two men grappled, grunting and cursing, metal clanging as their struggle echoed across the factory. "Michael!" I cried, but he didn't hear me. David was stronger, but Michael fought with raw determination, fists flying, jaw clenched with the rage of a son defending his mother. Marcus made a move toward me, as if to grab the box, but I stepped back, raising my voice like a blade. "Don't you dare touch me. You've done enough." The sound of fists landing filled the room, until finally Michael shoved David against a pillar, pinning him there. "Is this what you wanted, old man?" Michael spat, glaring at Marcus. "To watch him destroy our family? To stand by while Jasmine bled?" Marcus's lips trembled, his voice cracking. "I didn't want it this way. I swear, I didn't." Before I could answer, a door creaked open in the shadows. All heads turned as footsteps echoed closer. From the darkness emerged a woman, tall, weary, but with a strange steadiness in her step. It was Tasha, Marcus's wife. And then I saw what she was dragging behind her. "Dear God," I whispered, my hands flying to my mouth. It was Jasmine, alive, battered, bruised, her wrists bound, her face swollen, but alive. Michael froze, his grip on David faltering in shock. Marcus's mouth fell open, color draining from his face. Tasha's voice sliced through the silence, smooth and cold. "Let him go." The factory erupted into chaos. Jasmine's weak eyes found mine, and she whispered one word before collapsing to her knees. "Mom?" If you were in Grace's shoes, seeing your child thought dead suddenly alive, how would you react? Rush to hold her, or confront the traitors first? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more gripping stories. The factory's air froze, every shadow sharpened by Tasha's words. "Let him go," she repeated, her tone calm but carrying a venom that silenced even David's smirk. Her hand was steady, the black barrel of a pistol pressed against Jasmine's temple. Jasmine trembled on her knees, her bound wrists straining as she tried to lift her battered face. "Mom," she whispered again, weaker this time. "Dear Lord," I breathed, stumbling a step forward, but Tasha's glare cut me down. "Not another move," she hissed. "Michael, let him go, or your sister dies here." Michael's grip on David tightened, his knuckles white, fury blazing in his eyes. "You think I'm letting this snake walk free after everything he's done?" David sneered, seizing the moment. "Better listen to her, kid. You don't want your sister's blood on your hands." My heart pounded so loudly I thought it would burst. Jasmine was alive. Alive. But one wrong step could snatch her away from me again. "Tasha," Marcus croaked suddenly, his voice hoarse with disbelief. "What are you doing? You brought her here?" Tasha shot him a look so cold it could slice steel. "Don't act surprised, Marcus. You knew how deep we were in. You knew what we had to do." Marcus staggered back, his hand clutching his forehead. "I never wanted her dead." "Well," Tasha snapped, digging the gun harder into Jasmine's head. "Lucky for you, she isn't. But that can change real quick if your son doesn't let go." Michael's chest rose and fell like a storm. He looked at me, eyes desperate for direction. I could see the battle raging inside him. The need to protect me, the rage at David, the horror of Jasmine's life hanging on his next move. "Michael," I said softly, my throat raw. "Listen to me. We can't lose her again. Please." His jaw tightened. With a grunt of disgust, he shoved David forward, releasing him. David straightened his jacket with a smug grin, brushing dust off his sleeves. "That's better," he said mockingly, brushing past Michael. "See, Grace? Family reunions don't have to be so tense." Michael lunged again, rage boiling over, but David swung back hard, the two of them colliding in a vicious struggle. Fists flew, the sound of impact echoing through the hollow factory walls. "Stop it!" I cried, but it was too late. Chaos had erupted. Tasha dragged Jasmine backward, her gun jerking as Michael and David's fight edged too close. Jasmine whimpered, her knees scraping against the concrete. "Michael!" she shouted, her voice breaking. David twisted, slamming Michael against a rusted beam. Michael groaned, his body crumpling, but his fists never slowing. The sound of betrayal filled the room. Marcus shouting, Tasha cursing, David laughing between blows. I lunged forward, desperate to reach Jasmine, but Tasha yanked her away, snapping, "One more step, Grace, and she dies where she kneels." The words tore through me like fire. My daughter, alive, broken, terrified, and I couldn't touch her. The fight crashed into silence as a new sound cut through the night. Tires screeched outside, doors slammed, shouts echoed across the factory walls. "Atlanta police! Freeze!" The gun in Tasha's hand shook for the first time. Her eyes darted toward the door. The factory filled with flashing lights and the thunder of boots. And then about 5 police officers appeared. "Drop the weapon!" a policeman commanded, his voice slicing through the chaos. Jasmine's eyes fluttered open just long enough to meet mine. Hope sparked in them for the first time since she stumbled in. She was alive. Against all odds. Alive. Tasha's arm shook as she kept the pistol pressed to Jasmine's head. Sweat beaded down her temple. For the first time, I saw fear behind her steel facade. "You don't get it," Tasha hissed. "If he goes down, we all go down. You don't know what they'll do to me." Jasmine whimpered, her knees buckling. I reached forward instinctively, my voice trembling. "Tasha, please. Look at her. She's just a girl. My girl. Haven't we lost enough already?" Marcus finally stepped forward, voice hoarse. "Tasha, stop. Please. This isn't who we are." She turned on him, eyes blazing. "Not who we are. You dragged me into this, Marcus. You made me hide her. You made me lie for you." Her voice cracked, the weight of years breaking through. "And now you want to pretend you're innocent?" Marcus's face fell, his guilt spilling out like poison. "I thought I could control it. I thought it would stay hidden." But Jasmine knew too much. I didn't stop David because I was scared. And I'll regret that for the rest of my life. The room froze. My breath caught. He had admitted it. Michael's jaw clenched. "You let them hurt my sister. You betrayed us all." Tasha's hand trembled, her gun wavering. The policeman seized the moment. "Now, Tasha," he commanded. "Put it down." For a long, aching second, the factory held its breath. Then, with a sob that echoed in the rafters, Tasha lowered the gun. 2 officers surged forward, cuffing her before she could change her mind. David roared in protest, thrashing against his restraints, but 3 more officers pinned him hard to the ground. Marcus didn't resist when they clasped the cuffs around his wrists. He looked at me one last time, his eyes hollow. "Grace, I'm sorry." I said nothing. My silence was the only answer he deserved. And then, as the officers dragged them all away, I finally fell to my knees beside Jasmine. She was shaking, her skin clammy, her breaths shallow. But when I touched her cheek, her eyes fluttered open. "Mom," she whispered, voice breaking. "You found me." Tears blurred my vision. I gathered her into my arms, rocking her gently. "No, baby. You held on long enough for us to find you. You're safe now." "You're safe?" Michael knelt beside us, his arm wrapping around both of us. His face was bruised from the fight, but his smile shone through. "We've got you, sis. Nobody's ever hurting you again." For the first time in what felt like forever, I let myself breathe. The storm was over. Justice had been served. As the sun rose over Atlanta, casting golden light through the broken factory windows, I held my daughter close. And for the first time since that terrible day, I felt hope. We were broken, yes, but we were together, and together we would heal.